This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in order to be on time for everyone, I would like to say thank you to everyone to join this webinar. It's the third webinar we organize this week, but we will do more and more webinar in the coming weeks, coming months, and coming days. I would like to say thank you as well to Ray and Grand Forwarding for their help in order to organize this seminar. This seminar will be broadcast today for the viewers and so members and non-members, and afterwards we will also send this webinar to all the members of the French Chamber of Commerce. So I will let the microphone to Ray. If you have any question about the presentation, or if you want to do an intervention at the end of the presentation, please write it on the chat box, and we will read your question, and Ray will be able to answer it either during the presentation or at the end of the meeting. Thank you very much.
Okay, so should I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. So thanks everyone for listening into the presentation. This session is mainly about the impact of COVID-19 on the logistics industry. I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with what you're doing as well, because I see some of you import or export in and out of Taiwan. So this presentation will be divided to 4 parts. The first part is impact on import. So this means import from European countries to Taiwan. The second part will be impact on export. This means export from Taiwan to Europe. And number 3 is, in the face of COVID challenges, what can Grand do for you? Grand is the name of my company. Number 4 is a short introduction on Grand. Feel free to stop me anytime should you have any questions. Okay, so the first part is the impact of COVID-19 on import. So this session is broken down to 4 parts by steps. So step 1, we look at what commodities are restricted from exporting out of Europe. The second part is, once you make sure the commodity is not restricted, you truck it either to the airport or to the seaport. And the third part is what COVID's impact on air logistics. Next step is C. The next step is when the cargo reaches Taiwan, what impact does the COVID-19 have once the cargo reaches Taiwan? So the first part is commodity restriction. What can be exported out of Europe at the moment? So cargo transportation is still allowed with restriction on protective personal equipment. So mainly these things are face mask. I'm not sure what it's called, but that thing that you wear to block the virus. So things got to do with medical, got to do with the virus that you see on the news all the time. These things are restricted out of Europe. And once you make sure your cargo or the type of commodity is not restricted, when you arrange for pickup, pickup is actually quite normal in European countries, but it might be hindered by closed manufacturing sites and warehouses. So this means that trucks still run around, but the manufacturers or warehouse, they might not be open for pickup. So Italy and Spain, as you guys know, is really impacted badly by the virus. So in these 2 countries, non-essential industries are actually shut down. So these are, if you need to export from either Italy or Spain, you need to watch out and make sure the factories are open before we send our trucks to go pick up your cargo. Okay, so trucking is quite normal. unless you're transporting across European countries, then there might be delays caused by increased health and safety measures. For example, if you go from Holland to Spain at the border, there might be some delays due to checkups. So once you reach the airport, the airline situation is this. So most airlines, they reduce their passenger flights, causing severe drop in available capacity. So as you guys know, there's nobody flying out of Europe to Taiwan anymore for passengers. So most of the airlines, the flights still work, but they just decide not to fly anymore because they don't want to lose money. And I'm not sure if you guys know, more than 60 or 70% of the cargo from Europe to Taiwan were actually transported by passenger flights. So this means that when there's no more passenger flights, all the cargo, they're all crammed into freighters. Even though freighter capacity increase and there are some charters available, there's still the demand and supply, they just don't match. There's too much cargo, too little capacity for space. So rates actually went up by 200 to 300% from Europe to Taiwan compared to before the virus started. So if you think air is too pricey and you want to go with sea freight, here is what's going on with sea freight. So blank sailing is happening in sea freight. Blank sailing just means carriers are canceling their schedule for boats. So since they're canceling, the supply is getting less and less. That's why, as a result, rates are actually going up. Some carriers are applying peak season surcharge. This means on top of the freight, the charge you're paying for the freight, they're applying extra charges. It's kind of like fuel charges in air flight. And for ports fortunately are still operational, but there are slower gate in and gate out process, just because it's still working, but not as many people work as compared to normal times. We're seeing some delays in custom clearance, but overall it's okay. It's okay. We can still process out of seaports, out of Europe to Taiwan. It's not a problem. It's only that the rates are still a little more expensive than normal times. And once the cargo reaches Taiwan, we're not seeing too much problem, except there are some delays when we do depalletization. Means when you take your cargo out of the plane to the terminals, there are some delays because most of the cargoes now all come in at the same time through freighters, usually early in the morning. And sea terminals are operational with minimal delays. In other words, the sea terminals are okay. Nothing is happening to the seaports. You can still import via sea to Taiwan anytime. Is there any questions regarding importing into Taiwan from Europe? Okay, I don't. Okay, sure. The presentation will be handled by CCIFT. No problem. I can leave the presentation to you guys. Okay, so if no further questions, I'll go into export. So export means exporting out of Taiwan to Europe. Okay, so the same logic. The first step is commodity restriction. What commodities are restricted out of Taiwan? The same. Personal protective equipment are not allowed to be exported until June 30th. But personal protective equipment in Taiwan only means mask. You cannot export masks out of Taiwan. You can send it to your relatives with a cap of 30 masks, but as a business, you cannot send masks out of Taiwan. Trucking is nothing is happening to trucking. All the trucks still operate as the normal times. So air freight, what's happening to air freight? So the same logic. All the passenger flights are canceled from Taiwan, out of Taiwan, not only to Europe, but to all over the world. So all the cargo is crammed into freighters. So what airlines have freighters? These are the 4 airlines that's got freighters. China Airline, CV means Cargo Lux, TK is Turkish Airline, EK is Emirates. These airlines have good freighter capacity out of Taiwan. Even though they have good capacity, but the rates actually went up by probably 300% compared to normal times. It's anywhere from US $5 to $7 per kilo. And if you are exporting masks out of Taiwan, it's very, very expensive. They cost anywhere from 10 to 13 US dollars. Okay, so for sea freight, there is problems with blank sailing, the same problem from Europe to Taiwan. Carriers are canceling their vessels. But the rates, fortunately, are pretty stable. They're around $600 to $800 per TEU. And then ports are operational without delays. So once your cargo, either by air or sea freight, reaches Europe, what's happening is ports and custom clearance are experiencing delays, but you can still go through. You can still check out at the customs. It takes a little longer time. And cross-border trucking are seeing delays, but the biggest problem is not got to do with the customs and the trucking. We're seeing a lot of the shippers from Taiwan, when they ship to Europe, only to find out their consignees or people who receive the cargo are closed. So this could be a big problem because nobody is signing to receive the cargo. So we strongly encourage for all of you, if you want to ship to Europe, you need to check if your client is actually open or available before you decide to ship. So that's got to do with export out of Taiwan. The next section of the presentation is what can Grand do for you in the face of COVID-19. So Grand, there's three things that we can do for you. One is secure space, one is door-to-door service. The last thing is logistics consulting. So during COVID-19, when everybody's fighting for space, we have very good relationship with the airlines, including the 4 airlines with the freighters out of Taiwan that I mentioned, which are China Airline, Turkish Airline, Emirates, and Cargolux. So we have signed block space agreement. That means we have sufficient space from month to month, year to year. So if you have anything you want to ship but you can't get space, you can come to us. And door-to-door service, all of our European partners remain operational. So if you want to ship anything to your consignee's door in Europe, all of our partners are working at regular hours. So definitely you can come to us for door-to-door services. And the last thing is, if you're confused ever about what you can ship, what you cannot ship, and anything about custom clearance, anything about flights, sea freight, you can come to us. You can call us pretty much 24/7. When it's off hours, you can reach us by emails. We will all get back to you as soon as we can. So this section is got to do with what can Grand do for you. Okay, the last section of my presentation is a small, quick presentation on Grand, which I will pop up in a second. Okay, so Grand, we're founded in 1992, and we are very, very strong in air freight. We export about 2,000 tons out of Taiwan every month. By that tonnage, we're ranked as the top 1 freight forwarding company out of Taiwan, exporting out of Taiwan. And we have about 150 logistic professionals across 6 offices. These are the awards that we won from airlines. So every year, if you pay more than 10,000 USD to airlines as freight charges, they will give you awards. So we've been winning these awards for 10, 12 years in a row. So I mentioned we have 6 offices. The 6 offices we have are headquartered in Taipei, 1 in Taoyuan Airport, 1 in Taichung. In China, we have Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong. And then in terms of services, we do air freight, sea freight, inland services, trucking, trailers, and then we get involved with a lot of project cargo. So project cargo just means cargo that are a little more complicated to ship compared to normal cargo. For example, in this page, to the top left corner, you can see this is an art exhibition. So every year we import paintings and artifacts from Europe to Taiwan to be shown and to be sold. This is complicated because custom clearance is complicated. And at the end of the show, if your painting is not sold, we ship it back to the origin country for you. And next to it is a luxury car, and then next to it is a aircraft engine. And then there's all sorts of things that we ship. One of the highlights of our company is we've been shipping for a company called ASML. ASML is a very big company from the Netherlands. They make these machines. Why are these machines special? Because they are very heavy. Each one is about 100 tons, and each one is about 150 million USD. We ship about 350 of these in the past 10 years. We ship everything by air freight from the Netherlands to Taipei, and then at the end of after we ship it into the consignee store, we ship the containers, empty containers, back to the Netherlands. So these on this page, these are the things that we do to make sure the cargo is safe. And then, by the way, the consignee is called TSMC. It's the biggest company by market cap in Taiwan. The next big customer of ours is Asus Computer. I'm not sure if any of you guys use Asus Computer, but we've been their exclusive agent for their repairman parts. Not the actual phones and PC, but the repair the parts. So what we do is we collect the parts from different suppliers in Asia, and we manage all of the parts in our warehouse in Shanghai, and then we ship them to more than 20 countries. Just by Asus alone, we ship about 200 tons every year to Europe. A little about Grand China. So we opened our office in Shanghai in China in 2005, and we have expanded quite nicely. Now we have 3 offices, one in Shenzhen, one in Hong Kong. And the only difference between the operation in China than Taiwan is that in China, we do have our own warehouse and our own trucks. So that is the end of my presentation. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Okay, so what do? Do I just answer the questions in the chat box? Yes? Okay, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay, so the first question that I see is from service. Where does the stuck merchandise stay when arriving in Europe? Or stuck merchandise. So it depends on where it's stuck. If the merchandise is stuck at the airport, it stays at the airport terminal. If it's by sea freight, then it stays at sea freight terminal. If you get stuck in custom clearance, it's a warehouse next to the custom clearance office. So it all depends. How is air sea freight going to and from China mainland? Okay, so if you're talking about from Europe going into China, I believe is similar. It's very similar situation to Taiwan. It's just that the flights are canceled. People still ship into the mainland. Capacity is tight, and people are still shipping. So that just means rates are high. And if you're talking about from China to Europe, there's a big problem because a lot of because China pretty much shut down for 2 months, and when manufacturing capacity goes back to normal, a lot of people are rushing to ship to Europe. But it's the same thing. All the passenger flights are canceled, and people are still trying to cram all their cargo onto the freighters, but there isn't enough freighters. So the demand is so much bigger than the supply. So the rates going out of China is crazy. Some of our clients actually ship from China to Taiwan and then catch a plane from Taiwan to Europe. That happens. Okay, the next question, is it forbidden to send any kind of mask abroad or only surgical mask? Okay, so it's a very good question. It's not really not all kinds of masks are banned. It's just the kind that actually blocks the virus. It's not I'm not sure it's called surgical, but From my understanding, it's the mask that has 3 layers. So in the middle, there is a piece of cloth that blocks out the virus. It's that kind of mask includes surgical mask, and it includes N95. But I'm not sure what FFP2 is. But it's just the kind of mask that you see on the news that people rush to buy in Taiwan. Those kind of masks you cannot ship out. But the kind of mask that you see people sell on the street, it's just a piece of cloth or regular fabric that you can ship. The situation getting better. Import, export out of Taiwan. Okay, good question. So importing into Taiwan, we actually see it is getting more stable now, because Taiwan is an exporting country. From Europe, they're just not that much cargo from Europe to Taiwan. So even though the passenger flights are canceled, but we believe the freighter capacity is actually the demand and supply is going to become quite normal, maybe in the next couple months. And export out of Taiwan, the situation is still pretty tight. For example, if right now, if you want to book space on a flight to Europe, you need to wait at least 1 week. And if you don't want that space, somebody else would take it immediately. So the space is still really tight. We're not sure when the export is going to get better. I think it all depends on how the virus situation is becoming in the next couple months. Okay, what is the average lead time of sea freight from France to Taiwan? I believe it's anywhere from 30 to 45 days. Okay, you answered the question. In the past, the transit time is around. Yeah, because it depends on how many stops it makes. Sometimes it makes a stop in Singapore, and then it makes another stop in Hong Kong, and then it comes to Taiwan. But if there's only one stop, I believe it's anywhere from 35 to 40 days. But it makes 2 stops, it's 45 days to 50 days. Okay, so you're saying you are experiencing many delays recently. Will you be able to maintain same transit time? I think it's getting back to normal. I think 45 days is something that we can handle, but it all depends on what carrier or what vessel we arrange for you. You know, like the faster ones will cost a little more, the cheaper ones, they take longer. But if you want speedy transportation service, that's definitely something we can provide, no problem. Who are Grant's logistics partners in France? We work with 3 logistic partners in France, but the biggest one that we work with, or the one that we work with the most, is a company called Bansard. Bansard is spelled Bansard. So we believe they are one of the top 5 French freight forwarding companies. You can definitely go check out their website. They provide really good service, especially into Greater China area, including Taiwan. Oh, thank you, Luck. Okay, so if no further questions, we will be sending you an Excel file with the situation in, I believe, 4 to 5 European countries, because the presentation that I did is the overall big picture in Europe. But we have done an Excel digging a little deeper into the situation in different countries. So we will send that PPT, that Excel file, along with the PPT to anybody who needs it.
Thank you very much. We will also download this presentation on the CCIFT YouTube channel, so people will be able to access it in order to access the information you already shared with us. So if there is no other question, we will end this presentation right now because we are reaching the time, 30 minutes. And can you please share your email address in the chat box so people can have it and send you questions if they need?
Oh, you're talking to me? Okay, sure. Hold on.
Yeah. Thank you. We will also share it in the description of the
you guys send me emails, okay? You can ask me anything about anything. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ray. Thank you very much, Grand Forwarding. And see you soon.
Okay, thank you. See you soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.